In this WrestleTalk news, backstage reactions to Vince McMahon's SmackDown appearance, even more reports on Sasha Banks, my review of SmackDown, and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
After all the insane stuff that's happened in the last few days, including allegations about a $3 million sex scandal and more, check out our many other videos from the past few days if you're not in the loop about it all. Vince McMahon appeared on SmackDown. Many people speculated what this appearance could entail. Was this Vince retiring? Was he going to mention the ongoing investigation? Was this just a goodbye for now to the fans? Turns out it was him entering to say essentially nothing and then leaving. I'll go into more detail in my SmackDown review in a little bit about how I feel about the segment. Spoilers, it's not good. But Fightful Select is reporting what the backstage reaction to the appearance was. Vince was reportedly in a good mood backstage, as if nothing were going on, with the term business as usual being constantly reiterated backstage. The reactions that Fightful received were reportedly unsolicited, which is hilarious, and ranged from confused to disappointed to enraged. A top talent reportedly mentioned that the appearance was tone-deaf and embarrassing, and described the appearance as a power move to lessen the impact of the investigation's findings. A former top talent who has left WWE also mentioned, "I'm happy it didn't last long, so I didn't have to sit through whatever bullshit he was going to say, but it shows that he has no accountability, especially when something is directly his fault." Another person who had worked with Vince McMahon said they were enraged by the appearance, saying they were hopeful that this was the type of situation he'd handle more seriously. This person was reportedly backstage at the show and were incredulous watching this segment unfold. So, business as usual then. Overall, not a good look for Vince, which I think we all could have seen coming when the segment was announced before the show. Sasha Banks has been Schrodinger's superstar the last few days, with reports mentioning that she's been released from WWE but not verified elsewhere, while also not being shot down either. We have one more piece of evidence pointing towards her release being accurate, as WrestleVotes reported that the word backstage from SmackDown tonight is that the report from Raj Giri is indeed accurate, according to multiple sources. Sasha Banks has been released from her WWE contract. Seems pretty decisive to me, at least, so for now I think we can say with confidence that Banks is indeed gone from the company. What's next for her remains to be seen. It's Forbidden Door next week, and there was some controversy heading into the show, as it was revealed that Andrade El Idolo couldn't work the show due to his ties with AAA, and New Japan has a working relationship with CMLL, who have a fierce rivalry with AAA. Andrade has expanded on this now, saying that the original plan was for him to face Will Ospreay at the show for the IWGP United States Championship. Speaking to Hugo Savanovic of Lucha Libre Online, translated of course, Andrade said, "My bother is not with AEW because they had an idea for me to face Will Ospreay. He's a magnificent wrestler, but that was the original pitch for the IWGP US Championship. The idea was also to go to Japan for a week or two and come back to be on this event, Forbidden Door. A week passed and I was informed that I could not work the show because the Mexican wrestlers that work with AAA could not work with New Japan." And now it's time for my review of SmackDown in about 5 minutes. Spoiler warning, it gets ranty. Thank you for being awesome pledge hammers on our Patreon page, the British Bulldog Philip Boy J. Smith Jr. and WrestleTalk's personal ring announcer, Rodrigo Benitez. You can get your own shoutout and tons of extra bonus content by visiting us at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. This SmackDown began with Vince McMahon's advertised appearance, which was just hours after it was announced that he was stepping back from his CEO and chairman responsibilities because, just in case you somehow forgot, he's being investigated for having an affair with an employee and covering it up. So Vince came out to massive cheers and people eagerly clapping and singing along to his theme song, Stand Up for WWE. Vince ate it up, said it was an honor to stand in this ring, especially in front of this Minnesota crowd. He said, "I'm here simply to remind you of the 4 words we just saw, what we call the WWE signature. Those 4 words are then, now, forever, and the most important word is together. Welcome to SmackDown." Now, I'm not surprised that this animated bag of sawdust used his real-life investigation as a ratings ploy, but it doesn't make it any less scummy. The message behind this appearance was clear. It was a statement to say he's still here and isn't going anywhere, reminding everyone that together is the most important word in the WWE signature, but not everyone is together never with you, Vince, to the point they turned the comments off on the Vince appearance YouTube clip. This was quite clearly a power move, just getting his face on the screen and eating up the crowd reaction because he can, letting people know that while he might not be the CEO in name right now, he's absolutely still the one calling the shots behind the scenes, which I'm sure is really reassuring for the people backstage who thought this might be indicative of some sort of change, some sort of accountability for the chairman, but I guess not. It's business as usual. After that wet potato of an opening from the world's saggiest mannequin, the full intro of the show played and we're supposed to care about a regular old episode of SmackDown. Spoilers, I didn't. Riddle came out for a promo and said some stuff about Randy Orton or whatever. I don't know, I was still reeling from the previous segment. Nothing like a Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin match to perk me up though, where Moss got the last laugh in the last laugh match because he laughed last, except he didn't laugh last because the arena then laughed Corbin out of the building, being spurred on by Pat McAfee. I just said the word laugh too many times. This was nothing, really. The Street Profits did a promo. We then got a SmackDown classic moment. What is this, 2010? Showing Edge and Hogan winning the tag titles together. Okay. Natalya did a promo about Ronda saying she was at home licking her wounds. What wounds? You did a sharpshooter, you didn't stab her with a fork. New Day then faced Jinder Mahal and Shanky, where Shanky got distracted by Woods playing a trombone, so he started dancing. Then Kingston hit a Trouble in Paradise on Jinder for the win. Okay.
Visit WrestleShop.com every day for the most stupendous in wrestling merchandise. WrestleShop.com. Wrestling merch for grown-ups.
The Viking Raiders are back next week. Still, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus both came out where Adam Pearce is going to tell them which one of them made it to Money in the Bank after their no contest match last week. And he says Sheamus is in, to which Sheamus celebrates. Drew then beats him up because he's a babyface, I guess. And then Adam Pearce says, well, actually, my next sentence was going to be that Drew is also in Money in the Bank. Why wouldn't you just say that both of them are in the match then, Adam? That is very stupid of you. We got Raquel Rodriguez versus Shayna Baszler in a Money in the Bank qualifier next, where Raquel won and Lacey Evans was on commentary. I seriously have nothing else to say. This episode was one giant bleh. Riddle is backstage and the main event is next, apparently. Sure, Jan, I believe you. It of course isn't next because Max Dupree says the lighting or whatever isn't good enough for his model, so he won't come out until they're fixed. They have absolutely no idea what they're doing with maximum male models, do they? Walter and Ludwig Kaiser then did a promo where, just in case you didn't pick up on it before, they're foreign, you see, which means you should boo, because they're foreign. Ricochet's getting a rematch next week for the title, even though automatic rematches for titles aren't a thing anymore. Then we actually had the match of Riddle versus Reigns for the Universal WWE Champion Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship, which was a bit of a banger. Both of them did very well, and they had some great near falls towards the end and gave Riddle a ton to do in this match, with him looking great in defeat. A great RKO near fall and a spear out of midair closed this match out, and it was very good. And then out came Brock Lesnar, who beat up Reigns and the Usos. It was announced after the show it would be Lesnar versus Roman at SummerSlam because Money in the Bank, I guess. I could not give less of a about this match. We have seen this match so many times already, and Reigns already beat him clean just a couple of months ago. Why the should I care about it now? For clarity, the times we've seen Reigns versus Lesnar on pay-per-view with many weeks of build-up for each of them, thank you Sean Rossap on Twitter for this one, WrestleMania 31 in 2015, Fastlane 2016 in a triple threat, SummerSlam 2017 in a fatal four-way, WrestleMania 34 in 2018, Greatest Royal Rumble, SummerSlam 2018, Crown Jewel 2021, WrestleMania 38 in 2022, and we'll be seeing it again at SummerSlam in just over a month. I am so bored of this. Time is a flat circle, and now WWE don't have Orton, they just activated their permanent backup plan of Lesnar instead of, I don't know, elevating some of your other wrestlers to a main event position and making new stars, but no, as always, it's Brock Glass in case of emergency. What a disappointment and a shit way to end this dog coffin of a show. 0 out of 5, off Vince McMahon. Tempest review of Rampage now, go.
Man said indubitably. What's going on, WrestleTalk friends and fans? Tempest is back with another review of AEW Rampage. in about 3 minutes. So this show kicked off with Jon Moxley taking on Dante Martin. I don't think it's impossible that Dante Martin is a future member of the Blackpool Combat Club, and it's matches like these that I think lay the foundation for that eventual turn. Similarly to how Wheeler Yuta built up to his big match with Jon Moxley, I feel like we could get a similar thing out of Dante Martin, but this was not the big match. This was the match that's in the middle, where he's better than he was when he started, but he's not quite there yet. Sometimes two wrestlers have different styles and those styles clash. Other times those wrestlers have different styles and they mesh. This was the latter, and that makes me very happy. Yeah, it's not a guarantee that Dante Martin and Jon Moxley would work well together, but these two are excellent wrestlers, so it also doesn't surprise me that much. And this was a really fun opener, even if it didn't feel like one of the participants was fighting for the World Championship in a week's time. That to me is a bigger problem with the build to Forbidden Door than anything else, but this was a very fun match and this gets a 4 out of 5. Backstage, Tony Schiavone says that one has to wonder if Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland are on the same page, to which Keith Lee says,
Indubitably.
Thank you, Keith. While there is trouble brewing between these two, and I absolutely believe that Swerve Strickland will turn heel on Keith Lee at some point, they set up a tag team match against Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, and I'm always down in seeing these four mix it up. We then had a really short trios match as the Ass Boys and Max Caster took on Leon Ruffin and Bear Country. The real intrigue here was what was Max Caster going to say about Vince McMahon, and he ended up just saying a line about signing an NDA. Pretty tame stuff, all things considered. I mean, it felt like the rap was longer than the match. Leon Ruffin got beat with a quick draw and the mic drop in just a couple of minutes, and this was a really quick one. While I'm still largely indifferent about the Ass Boys, I do like seeing that the Acclaimed are now getting wins on television, and once they're able to be put back together as a team, I think the sky's the limit for them. If they're not tag team champions by the end of 2023, I will be very surprised. That being said, there really wasn't much more to say about this match. It wasn't long enough to get more than a 2 out of 5, but it was entertaining while it lasted. We got a few words out of Hook backstage, and then we had the new entrance of Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale, who is taking on Jade Cargill in the next match. Willow's back gave out on her and she wasn't able to utilize her strength in this match, and eventually Jade was able to power her up and hit Jaded for the win. I'm really into the TBS Championship picture right now. Everyone in this title scene makes me so interested to see their next match. But after the match, the baddies attacked and Athena managed to hit Kiera Hogan with the move formerly known as the Eclipse before Jade Cargill caught her with a huge big boot. I'm a big fan of both of these women, and I would not be upset whatsoever if this match led to more matches between them down the line. I'm giving this a 3 out of 5. It was very fun. We then got the announcement that at Forbidden Door, the IWGP Tag Team Championships and the ROH World Tag Team Championships will both be on the line in a 3-way match, pitting Roppongi Vice against FTR against the United Empire, being represented by the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb. And then we got our main event as Darby Allin took on Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish worked over Darby Allin's knee in this match, and that didn't stop Darby Allin from hitting another one of the best suicide dives I've ever seen in my life. The list of the 10 best suicide dives are 9 clips of Darby Allin, and that one time Dragon Lee dove into the front row. But Bobby Fish continued to attack Darby Allin's legs, grounding him during this match, leading to Darby Allin having to win via the Last Supper, reversing an ankle lock into the winning pin. This was another fantastic little main event of Rampage. It was one of those matches that you don't need to go out of your way to see. It wasn't mind-blowing, it didn't light my world on fire, but it was still very, very, very good. What you do need to go out of your way to see, however, is the return of Sting, and more accurately, Sting's low blow on Kyle O'Reilly. In case that you'd forgotten that Kyle O'Reilly is one of the best sellers of all time, being hit in the nuts by a baseball bat by Sting puts him even higher on that list. After Kyle was taken care of, Sting passed a chair to Darby Allin, who Pillmanized Bobby Fish's leg. I didn't think I would see Sting and Kyle O'Reilly share the ring together, but when Red Dragon takes on Darby Allin and Sting, I'm going to be a very happy camper. I also think it's highly possible we'll be building to a match between Darby Allin and Adam Cole, and I also think that match will be very delicious. This main event gets a 4 out of 5. It was very fun, an excellent match between two very good wrestlers, but it's not going to make the list of the top 10 best Rampage matches of the year or anything. So overall, this was another very solid episode of Rampage. There were lots of good wrestling matches if you like that sort of thing, and if you need a little bit more than that, you also had the return of Sting. I'm going to give this show a 4 out of 5 because, I mean, was it a good time?
Indubitably.
And that just about wraps it up for me. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on this week's show and last night's stupid-ass SmackDown, make sure you go over to WrestleTalk Podcast later on today, where myself and Chopper Pete will be going over both shows in complete detail. Until then, it's actually Father's Day this weekend, so have a lovely Father's Day, everyone.
Just 24 hours after the Wall Street Journal broke that the WWE board is investigating its own CEO and chairman, Vince McMahon, for allegedly paying a former employee he had an affair with, WWE released a statement announcing Vince has voluntarily stepped back.
Stand back! Stand back!